Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay. I heard something pretty important for the world as a whole. Starting in Nigeria, if the people don't comply with the digital ID system, their SIM cards are shut off from their phones. For instance, there's a woman that her son is in school in I think they said North Nigeria, and she's in the South, and she can't call him and find out how he's doing or anything. Over a third of their country, 73 million people, are without mobile service, or I'm assuming, well, it said, they're mobile, so I'm not sure. Well, evidently she can't do it from her home either, so and can't contact her child, so um but this is pretty serious. They're implementing that type of thing in other countries first to see how it's going to go over on the less suspecting countries. Yeah, I think Americans are more suspect of their governments or government, being as USA or Canada or Mexico's, we're all pretty savvy. And I know a lot of the Nigerian and African people are very savvy also, but what do we do to combat something that is totally against our will? Our own governments taking away our free will and what we would want in our lives. It's not that I would be totally against like paying my bills digitally or something, but out of a physical bank account, perhaps, maybe at one point someday. But to go totally digital and to have everything I do um, under somebody else's knowledge, whether I buy a new car or a house or I go on a vacation and I stop at a what would be like a holiday station or gas station or whatever, I mobile, wherever you are, Texaco, um Conoco, whatever. You get my gist. If I'm stopping at a gas station or a hotel, or what town I visited, or what I do, or what clothes I bought, or soaps, or anything, is none of these people's business, you know? And for me personally, to keep a head somewhat of the dark force type entity that hates me, I have to be ahead of the game. And they're trying to put their foot once again in what belongs to God's people and take control of that and control us at every aspect. I heard Georgia in the United States of America, the state of Georgia, is under a state of emergency for their food supply. That's emergency. That key word right there in the United States should tell people that this is starting to hit a little closer to home than maybe some people thought, you know, and it's just begun, you know. So, just a minute, please. If I don't tell you enough, I love you. Excuse me. I love you. Thank you for being here. Of course, else would you be? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good people out on the web. It's just, it's finding them, or fellow YouTubers, us, or over on Facebook, the people that know what's going on, but there's not much we can do about it, or it doesn't appear like we're doing anything about it. But maybe we're contacting more people than what we know. Maybe we're giving out something that somebody hadn't really looked at from that angle, you know. Um, Once again, getting to know your wild edibles around you and where you're at is a really big deal. And if you're eating dandelions, every part of the dandelion, the root can be dried and it tastes like coffee. From what I understand, I haven't had. But it, okay, every part of that can be eaten. Pine trees are tea. Every bit of a pine tree is edible and can be used for something. The pine cones have pine nuts and it's a protein. Um, I'm sure you could just eat some of the needles, but it makes an excellent tea and it tastes kind of nutty. um, just get to know. And that's not a really widely known thing, but there's things like wild raspberries and strawberries, and not just the fruits, but the leaves can be used in salads and making a tea. There's wild violets, every part of that is edible. Oh, and I was going to tell you about the dandelions. Um, they're okay after they've flowered their yellow flower. Um, you can still eat the greens from it, but anytime you do really eat them, it's like a diuretic, and it will help you lose weight. It'll dehydrate you from the inside out, and it will give you diarrhea. It takes all the moisture out of your body, but also it's like a natural antibiotic, and it's very high in iron and vitamin E, and it has fiber that you need, and it's got vitamin C and some like B vitamins and different things in there. But what I would do, and the best way that I found to prepare it, is to boil it at least a couple times and rinse the water. Three is really good. And if you have a little pat of butter and a salt and pepper, and eat it like a green, like a beside your protein. Or and if we don't have any protein, I would suggest, if you live in a climate where you have mushrooms, find out what some of your local mushrooms are, because although they're like 90% water, they're high in B vitamins, they're high in vitamin A, they even have a trace of C, they can be high in iron depending on the mushroom itself, and the vitamins that it contains is valuable, and it carries a certain amount of protein. When times of finding protein coming up here might be kind of rather difficult, protein actually in any form is going to be the number one food that you and fungi is never ending. You can even find some funguses in the winter, and most of them are edible. You can take a little tiny piece and eat it and tell within 10 minutes if it's good or not. And none of them, by touching them or doing that, is going to kill you. I mean, if you take a big bite and swallow it, you'll probably get really sick, but nothing's going to actually cause you to have a kidney transplant because of the toxins in it if you just take a little bite. So don't be afraid if like all the power grid goes down or anything. And if it tastes good and buttery and kind of nice, then you know you found a keeper, and to identify it. Common ones in North America are the button mushroom that can grow. They're white. They can either grow in the shade or in a cave and in a meadow, and they can be called meadow mushrooms. They get pretty big, sometimes bigger, and they start out looking like a button, but round, the ones you buy in the store, the round white ones, but when they, or canned, but when they spread, they get flatter on top. And there are breeds of them that aren't so good, or really not edible at all. But you will be able to tell even from the odor of it if it smells sort of like licorice or something. Um, be iffy on it, you know, or if it has like a pungent odor or something like that. But most mushrooms are not poisonous. Used to be a myth too that all uh, ones that grow on trees, like the oyster mushroom or the turkey mushroom or different ones like that, you'll know because you'll look on the hardwood trees, you'll see a white and it looks like an oyster and there'll be layers of them. They can get dry, but they're always edible, whether or not it's leathery or not. You could always get vitamins out of it by um, crushing it, grinding it, or putting it in a tea in an emergency. And the turkey tail ones look just like a turkey tail. They're kind of, they can get like about 6 to 8 inches wide and about 3 inches or more wide, like that. And it'll look brown and black and white and have the colorings of the turkey tail. They're edible. So if you find ones like that, and then there's like a yellow one that looks like the button mushroom that grows under conifers, under pine trees. Those are edible. Better, those are better too when they look like the button before they spread out. And so, I mean, if you just even look at a field guide, we have one, but I mean, if you even look online, look at your local mushroom hunting groups, and just, and like I say, some wild edible plants. And what could you forage in the winter? I mean, like acorns from an oak, or whatever is in your area, and learn how to prepare them and what to do just in case. It doesn't hurt to learn just about 3 4 things that could seriously save your life, you know let alone all the medical uses for things that just grow all the way around us all the time, just in case, you know. I used to do a lot of that, and it was cheaper a lot of times to make something than it was to actually go and buy it. But if I can buy it and not make it, I'd rather anyway. But um, just to know, to have that knowledge of different things, like we have a plant that's called a colt's foot, looks like, and it's a water lily that grows in streams or on the side of it, and you probably have it in Canada. Um, and it has a yellow flower, and those big leaves can be dried like tobacco and smoked like tobacco. It can be made into tinctures and teas, and it's a spectorant for when you have like pneumonia or cough, or they used to put it on the fire in sweat lodges and sit in there and clean all their pores with that, like that. But it can be smoked like tobacco too. So it'd be like a menthol cigarette, sorta, a little different flavor. But, and I'm not fond of it. And I wouldn't even smoke it if I was like hard up for tobacco, because there is no comparison. But it is a medicine if I need that, if somebody had pneumonia. And you can actually make like a poultice, like grind it up and put it with water and kind of pummel it with your mortar and pestle, and put it underneath a bandage on somebody's chest to get rid of infections and that type of thing. So, you know, just to know a few things like I just taught you could save your life. So, anyway. My old coffee stained cigarette smoking smile. Cheers. I am on, let's see, I think day 45. Let me see. No, no. Is it? I think day 45 of my exercising diligently. Definite. Yeah, day 15 of my squats. I think it could be more. I'll have to. Is today the 25th? I don't know. Somewhere around in there, but I haven't given up. So, and I'm not going to now. I've got it back in my blood again. It's my adrenaline. It's like I'm not letting that go. you know, Only at night when I go to sleep and I when I need my rest, I need my rest. That's something that I've gotten like really strict on. If somebody inflicts or tries to take away from my energy with attention, I don't allow that anymore at all. I am in my home. People have to ask to enter my room and talk to me because my time and thoughts are that valuable to me. So I don't know if you're in the position where you need or want to do that and set boundaries for yourself and know when you say no doesn't have extrapolations. It's like nothing's added onto it. It means no. You know, if somebody asks me something once, and that's what that word means, there's no explanation that needs to go with that. I heard something else really cool today that Dr. Carmen, her YouTube and Facebook, I think, is called Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Um, she's a counselor like me, but she actually went to counseling school. My counseling, I was trained as a drug rehab counselor through the medical situation. So it's still a medical field, but also as a TMA in case you were like bleeding or something, you know. So they had to have people that could physically save somebody if they needed it, you know. So but anyway, my training is I can help you if you're hurt type of thing, you know, so not just your brain. So anyway, I'll get back to what her topic was today, or I'll tell you the topic and light my cigarette. It's called emotional incest. I'll be right back. May not be what some of you think, or, this is what happened in my life and to my older son. Was told when he was 9 that he was the man of the house when his dad wasn't home going out of state to work. And I said, "You do not say that to a little boy." And I don't think my kid forgot it, even though it was so long ago. And he may not, it's like on a subconscious level, it was so evil. I can't describe it. That type, that's emotional incest. Or you have a parent that, see, my kids will talk about sexuality towards me. I mean, their relationships, things I don't even want to hear it. It's things that they could maybe, and so this is where I'm at on this. Yes, teaching your kids the birds and the bees and the true genders and all these things, that are real about marriage and children and whatever. And then if they ask on the deviated, you can go there too. But, and nowadays you probably will. But the point is, I don't think without my children having somebody describe their sexual acts to his children, in their lives, which is incestual abuse. You know, my kids wouldn't feel as free to display that type of language in front of me, if you see where I'm going with that. There's times they've told me things that I wouldn't even told my mom or dad, you know, that your parents have no business in that conversation, you know. I told Doug, here's an example too, the other night. This is how private I am. It'd be like if I was the first person ever made female and my male spouse was with me and God was watching. I'd be like, excuse me, God, this is rather a private moment if you don't mind. You know, thank you. Because that's how private I am. And that's pretty damn private, eh? So, yeah, the emotional incest. Okay, I have more examples on that too, not just from my personal life, but what Dr. Carmen was talking about. So just a moment here. Let me see if I can remember. And I think you really get my point though, because oh yeah, yeah, like talking to your children like they're adults because they don't have the life experience to even respond to anything that you're saying on that level. Um, but a lot of people will take like their marital problems and talk to that child, their child, like they would a spouse or a missing spouse. And that is so inappropriate, you know. Well, there's some things too that as a mom alone with children, I do realize that it's a where do you find the line, or with any parent or single parent, where do you find the line of what to tell your child about a person if you're trying to help them understand something in their life, or you see my point. Where do you draw the line on what you say to them at what age, and or if at all, you know there it's sort of like some things you don't even broach the subject with your kid because that is still your child. They are your You can be friendly with your child, but you are not their friend, if you know what I mean. You can be their friend, but you are not their friend. You're their parent, no matter how old you are or how old they get. And that brings to mind something I've always said, and kind of, if you feel differently, that's fine. It's okay. But I'm not one of these moms that's my baby till no matter how big you get. No, no, no. No way. It's like, hey, you're on your feet, hit the road. No, go get a job. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't that bad. But and I'm still not, you know. If my sons are gentlemen, they're always welcome in my home. But there is that criteria. And it's also too my space and my time and the language that's around me and all of it, whether it's energy giving or energy robbing. Big crowds won't rob my energy if I'm comfortable, you know. So just like around my siblings and all my nieces and nephews and stuff down in Texas, I was fine. Um, I could even go sit by myself and feel comfortable without somebody guilt tripping on me, that type of thing. It's like, well, hey, cool, you know. So at least most of them didn't. Oh, Anyway. But yeah, so I back to the self-preparative stuff and what I know they're going to do to the whole world with their digital baloney and trying to make the literal Nero link in our minds with the great computer in the sky type of crap. We have to find a way to stop this bullshit. Not just in our country, but for the whole world. How do we do this? What do we do? I know I won't comply no matter what they do. Take my phone away. There's many times I didn't want a phone, and I'm sure I can go back to feeling the same way. Of course, I wasn't raised in the generation where I take my phone into the bathroom and holding it while I'm urinating like some guys I know, or yeah, I'm not talking about Doug. I don't know that he'd do that even if he had a cell phone. But I know people that have done that. It's like, well, and I don't know. I guess there's a reason for everything everybody does. So if I just offended you, I may not be sorry, or I might be. I have no idea because I would have to know you better. How's that? No, I know you well enough. Just thought I'd make you laugh. Yeah. But yeah, and don't forget to wash your hands. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting about uh, Nigeria. We need to make some plans to either overthrow our governments or, ladies, gentlemen, how you feeling? Let's get the pulse of the society, not just what the news says. Let's take the pulse and see. Let me check your pulse. You check mine. Let's check our neighbors. Let's start checking some pulses of the people to see where everybody's at. And, um, what are we going to do about this? Is there somebody with enough money that wants to step up and start making a mobile network that everybody can jump on and say, hey, the heck with the ones that are trying to do this to us in their communities? There's a whole list of people. If you go to Peggy Hall, she's not really doing good on YouTube because they try to shut her down at every turn. But she's an attorney, some of you know, from California. If you go on to Facebook and find Peggy Hall, you can see there's different groups and societies that are coming together and helping other people. Like if you lost your job, and because of these mandate things, they have lists of people in different places. If you want to create communities to have your own schools or your own hospitals or your own banking system, um, barter and selling sites and communities, and how to govern ourselves and what to do in hard times. There's a whole bunch of ideas and a lot of people over there. I was interested to see on that list of people for resources for people, and it did say something like it wasn't communications, but it was something technical for Derek Bros off a Global Witness, and it was a really old picture of him. He's gray now, but he had like long brown hair about the color of mine, you know. So yeah, Doug used to have identical color in my hair too, so which was a little different because I've got a lot of different colors in it actually. So from a brew net. So anyway, God sure brewed one up here, didn't he? He has a habit of doing that with us, doesn't he? ever look in the mirror and think, oh, god dang, I'm kind of cute. Oh, but wait a minute. I had a young lady tell me I'll never be as beautiful as you, and which is quite the compliment. And I said, you just don't realize. She doesn't either. She's like, just not even a woman yet. It's like you'll find out, little girl. This guy, great big eyes, and yeah, you'll see. Beautiful smile, you know. Yeah. And then she shows me a blemish, you know. I'm like, yeah, that you'll see. Well, everybody, I'm gonna let you go, and I thank you for joining me. Um, Let me know maybe where you live and what wild edible. Maybe put it in the comments. What wild edible do you have around you that um is common or somebody might be able to use? Maybe start sharing that with people alone and letting them know about this. If you don't go digital type of thing, we're going to take your mobile service away. Look how they pushed that Jabadoo over there in Africa too. I mean, literally doing like what they did to me, anything they want, and getting away with it when it didn't turn out the way, or did it turn out the way they expected, making people sick and killing people, you know. So, okay, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at. And thank you again. I love you.